What's up, guys? Yes, I'm going to be streaming like this for today. So I decided to talk about colonialism, antisemitism, and how, well, the new term on the block, Islamophobia, and these three terms. Now, I had many questions from people talking from all over how these terms are actually used. Okay? So it's funny how people, when they give an opinion, it seems completely like something else. And that opinion seems like you're offending somebody, or your disagreement seems like it's not an opinion anymore, or you're trying to hate them or something, when it's completely not like that at all. So my question is today to all my viewers who are watching me like this, let me ask you something. Whether you're Muslim, Jewish, or Christian, if you disagree with something, if you disagree with something, does that mean you hate someone because you disagree with them, or you disagree with their lifestyle, or you disagree how their life was? Does that turn into anti-Semitism? Or what would you call it? I would call that socialism, because if you're a social person, you like to socialize, you like to open up, you like to share opinion. But sometimes, based on opinion and what opinion you give, that can turn into, well, anti-Semitism. And that's not the case. We're not trying to hate anybody. And when you try to build a conversation with people just because you're not from the same atmosphere, you're not from the same nature, you try to understand that, hey, how can we connect because we want to agree to something, right? Well, sometimes based on the stuff you talk about, that's another cause of also anti-Semitism. Now, what the hell is colonialism? Let me give you an example of colonialism. If I disagree the way your lifestyle is, and how you feel like your lifestyle is all right, whether you're from Pakistan, you're from Israel, or whatever. Nowadays, people make friends based on, well, colonialism, all because of their background or how their culture was, how their religion was. This is in, man. No. Here's an example. I choose to wear a dress, you choose to wear booty shorts. That's my choice. That is my culture. That is what I like to wear. Nobody's supposed to judge me based on that. That is my style. I like myself in dresses. I like myself in dresses and blouses. You like yourself in booty shorts. Good for you. Is somebody gonna judge my lifestyle and say, "Oh, that's colonialism. That was your style from to begin with"? No. If you're a travel person, right? You travel to different countries, different places. They're gonna have all their backgrounds. Their backgrounds has nothing to do with your lifestyle and history, right? Now, how does colonialism work today? People are insulting each other. People are discriminating each other. People are hating each other. Oh, your lifestyle sucks. Your lifestyle sucks. And if somebody disagrees with this, it's like, oh, that's colonialism. False. Oh, hey, just like how I said it. You choose to wear booty shorts. I'm going to wear my dresses. Nobody can change me for that. Now, if other people do not like my lifestyle, do not like this, that is fully up to them. But people don't see things like that anymore, do they? Insulting people's lifestyle, their culture, their religion, how their country was made. This is all ideology of, well, colonialism, because people are viewing people from colonialism. Now, when it comes to wars, let me ask you something. Was everything made in a day after a war? Everybody participated to build your country and make it work, things like that. And I actually learned that, right? So when I reviewed about the Christopher Columbus War, after that, when America was officially made, there were many people who organized to help build America. Now, if I have a floor plan and I want ideas, how am I going to decorate my country? I'm going to want millions of people to tell me that, hey, what is your recommendation? How should I decorate my house? What should I do in my house? What should I keep in my house, right? These are recommendations and how people helped build America. If you want to talk, people like to judge people on colonialism, here's a tip. How about you give recommendations like, hey, how can we make things worse? How can we decorate our house? How can we fix stuff? But instead, colonialism, people are judging each other based on country without having to understand every country has its own culture, has its own style, has its own tradition. Their house has nothing to do with your house. People need to mind is that their house has nothing to do with your house. You can only welcome them, but not change their lifestyle, something people need to get out of. Okay, that is a portion of colonialism. Okay, now I have a question for everybody that people don't seem to get, and people are either lost or they do not want to accept. Now, if I see somebody insulting Jews, knowing the Islamophobia means that, hey, you are scared of people, you're scared to be around them, you're scared of their dressing, you're scared of their faith. So if I see someone who's going through the same thing as me, which is like the Israeli Jews these days, would I choose friendship or would I choose to let them be hated, knowing that, hey, man, I'm living the same shit, you know, you want to shake hands with me or not? Or do you want to just live in a religious narrative and fight the solo alone? That's how I see it, because people are scared and like insulting Israelis as well. I see the same thing. People are scared of Muslims think, but no, when it comes to a conversation, people disagree all the time. No, that's not Islamophobic. How can you be Of course it is. I don't want people to be afraid of me. I don't want people to hate me or be afraid of me. I don't want them to hate me for my faith either. Because just because their culture is separate does not mean I'm from there. So what do you mean when people say ideologies like Islamophobic is fake? How can somebody live this ideology saying that, can you live if somebody's afraid of you, even to shake hands with you, even to welcome you as a friend? Would you not hate that ideology? Same goes with Israeli Zionist Jews. They think it's anti-Semitism. If somebody disagrees with their way of life, that's a judgment. That's a judgment that people disagree with their way of life or how they see things. But nowadays, people are just making on judgments off of social media, forgetting about history itself. I was watching something very, 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 very interesting, right? It was about the Ottoman Empire. And back in the day, there were like the Zoroastrians, the Iranians, there were the Muslims, there were Jews, and many other people lived the Ottoman Empire. Now, based on how people see today, they're not really reviewing the Ottoman Empire, that everybody was together in that time period. Yes, there were disagreements and fights, things like that, but people do not want to review that stuff. Now, so if somebody's going to ask me, why? Why? Because people are too focused on culture, people are too focused on religion, people are too focused on somebody else's lifestyle, and feel like if you focus on these things, that's a format of colonialism. Colonialism is about people's culture, how they live, and telling someone they cannot live this way. We don't agree with that lifestyle. But what do their lifestyle have to do with your lifestyle? Are you going to tell your best friend that she can't wear booty shorts anymore because you disagree? That's how people are viewing things in society today. And I've noticed that if you try to be a social person and you want to know somebody, you want to talk to them, you want to get to know them, and you want to know a little bit about them. But if you're a newcomer, you don't know anything. Let's say if you share your opinion, like, hey, you know, nice idea, but I don't see what's the point of this idea. If you disagree, sometimes it seems like you are being hatred when you don't mean hate. You just want to learn, man. Like, hey, tell me something a little bit about yourself, and why do you see, so I can understand your vision. But sometimes that vision looks like you're hating somebody when you're not. You're just being a social person and you want to know, hey, tell me a little bit about yourself so I can understand what's going on. I'm a lost person. I want to know you a little bit more. Okay, educate me. But sometimes based on you being too friendly and you being social, it looks like, oh, you hate them or you're disagreeing with their method, and that comes to, oh, you're anti-Semite. No, educate me about your style, man, so I can have a better understanding. Now, same goes for, well, colonialism. People are judging people's dressing, culture, country, how it was, how it's decorated, and people are like, no, we don't agree with that method, that tradition, that style. We want to live the way we want to live in this country or that country, without having to understand there's different culture people, there's different tradition people, and their style is not going to match with your style, just like a fashion club. You're not going to tell another model that her dress is bad versus your own dress just because you don't like her dress. That is her way. This is your way. Welcome to the meaning of colonialism. You are not to say things to people based on culture, religion, faith, and judge based on their lifestyle and bring it into a topic. Oh, that invasion was colonialism, just like how I reviewed. Many wars come from stealing things, inventions, education, religion, And even land conquer, minus all that stuff. Who's going to rule this land from now on? There are many different type of wars. In fact, I was talking to someone Jewish, and she was telling me something about the Phoenicians. I didn't even know that. She told me the worst people in the world are the Phoenicians who done wrong to the Holy Land. I'm like, who the hell are the Phoenicians? I don't know. Who are Phoenicians? What are you telling me that? Who are the Phoenicians? And she was telling me the early times that how the Phoenicians stole stuff and they claim it's theirs today. It was an invention, something that the Jews made, and the Phoenicians stole it. I don't know what invention it was she was telling me. So that would be considered a war for stealing. War for stealing, not religion, war for stealing. There's many things like that. Now, if you want to learn and you want to know that, hey, is this a colonial project? What type of project is this? Like colonial means like you want to change someone's lifestyle. And that's what I meant the Native Americans. The Native Americans didn't want to change their style, their tradition. They liked their tradition, however it was. Colonialism means you judge someone's lifestyle. Now, what if somebody doesn't like your lifestyle? Rather you're Western, you're old-fashioned from the 1990s wearing the old-fashioned clothing. Are you still going to go by that? What if somebody doesn't like your lifestyle? Then what are you going to say? Are they anti-Semites for not liking your lifestyle? Or are they anti-Semites because they disagree with your method? Or are they anti-Semites because they do not like what the stuff is shown around and they have their own methods? And are they not open enough to give you an opinion because it's going to seem like hate? Agree or disagree? Now, when it comes to religion in America, I call it a mess. I don't agree with anybody on this, to be frankly honest. I call it a chaos and a retarded mess, in my opinion. It's a chaotic mental mess, in my opinion. Anybody who talks to me about religion in America without having to understand that nobody is going to agree with you, period. You are wasting your time. You are wasting your breath debating people who is right because everybody's different. You cannot tell an atheist person to believe in God. Can you tell an atheist person to believe in God versus the three religions? Now, when people yell at each other for the stupidest things, degrading religion without having to understand, nobody's going to agree with you, whether you like it or not. Now, when people compare and call it anti-Semitism, or your religion says anti-Semitism, okay, anti-Semitism. Why do black and white people fight? For what? For what? That's not religion, that's a racial hate. Why do black and white people fight? Why? Any answer? Any maybe viewers have an answer? Black and white people fight, and they can just never get along. It's stupid to bring in religion into somebody's tradition and culture without having to understand that not everybody's going to agree with you. And then when people disagree with you in religion, they call it either anti-Semitism, and some people compare freedom of speech. That, oh, we have freedom of speech to say whatever. But a better question, this is not something to talk about because nobody's going to agree. So when people get mad, sad, upset, they either say it's anti-Semitism or we can't do freedom of speech because they're not listening to us or they're not allowing us. No. In today's society, colonialism is like educating people how to live, how to dress, how to present yourself without getting judged. Like when somebody wears a hijab, okay? They're like, oh, look at that stupid hijab versus a bikini, or somebody who doesn't even wear a bikini, who's a Hindu. Hindu have their own dressing, but that's colonialism judgment without having to understand that people's traditions are not going to match your traditions. And that's something people need to get out of. That's what colonialism means. You judge people's lifestyle. You judge their homes, what it's like, whether it's colonized or not. Culture comes first. The culture is the thing that rules over there, not colonization. That's only when the war is done, your home is made, you have people who to give you a set of rules, how the land's going to be controlled. Colonialism should not be the key to people's society. Judging people what to wear, advising them what to wear and leave just because you disagree and your lifestyle was different, that's all colonialism. Judging people's lifestyle and country based on culture. That should not be the key to someone. And disagreements, everybody can disagree with you something. Disagreement should not be the key to anti-Semitism, because then you cannot have an accurate conversation without having to understand there are going to be people who do agree with you and there are going to be people who disagree with you. And if you can't handle that, then what's the point of talking? Name one person in the world that agrees with every damn freaking thing, whether it's your government, your lifestyle, or your own friendship circle. Be that when you have friends. Tell me 2 friends that do not disagree with each other in their same damn circle. Nobody. Everybody has disagreements. It can be about your government. It can be about your country. Like, hey, this is what I do like, but this is what I don't like. Now that disagreement sometimes turns into anti-Semitism. Okay, you hate us. You have a problem with us. No. Personal hate, you don't need a reason. You'll just do it. Personal hate, you don't need a reason. You're just going to do it regardlessly. But in opinion, you're going to tell people very openly, hey, what I like and what I don't like. That's in relationships. That's in marriages. That's with your boyfriend and girlfriend relationship. That's in your friendships. That's in every people you meet around the world. There's going to be things you agree and then you disagree. And people sometimes are going to say to your face that this is what I don't agree with. I'm sorry. And that's sometimes today, disagreements looks like it's anti-Semitism. Opinion seems like it's anti-Semitism. And then when people say something in return, oh, we're just giving your opinion. You can't handle the truth. So when somebody gives us reaction back, that, okay, you get a reaction based on what you throw the bullet. If I shoot a gun, I'm going to get a reaction back how I behaved with someone. I'm going to get it back. Somebody's going to do something to me, period. If I shoot my gun and I want to shoot somebody out of my face, I'm going to get a reaction back, whether it's under the table or somewhere, right? Now, based on what you post or say stuff to people, in some terms, people seem like, oh, they're jealous. No, nobody needs to be jealous. Everybody has their own way of life. Some people live alone without friends. So what's jealousy? But sometimes when people do these things, it makes it seem like, oh, gee, it's anti-Semitism because you said a different point of perspective, or you're making us look bad, when that's not the case. And that's where people get the wrong idea of freedom of speech. Like, oh, we had freedom of speech to say it. Without having to understand there are people who are not going to agree with you, period. So why are you doing this in the first place? Why? Without having to understand there are going to be people who would disagree with you, and you should not make this as an excuse, say that people hate you. There are friends who are going to be constantly friends with you forever, but that doesn't mean they're going to agree with your method. They're going to live the way they want to. So how is that anti-Semitism? Now, if I give an opposite reaction back in the same behavior, same way, you think people would not notice me? Of course they're going to notice me. Every opposite has an attraction. Now, it's a good one or a bad one. Every opposite attraction has an attraction. Good one or a bad one. Any questions? Know the difference from anti-Semitism versus colonialism. Colonialism is a way of teaching people, judging people based on their country or where that they lived. And you feel like you disagree with them. Rather, you're talking about a war. You're talking about almost anything, and they disagree with your methods. Like, oh, things didn't happen like that. We like our history better, and we like our lifestyle better. And whoever made this war, the admin to the war, we agree with it. That turns into a colonial debate. So in America, if people want to make anti-Semitism in schools any less, people need to start realizing that in America, there are going to be people who don't agree with everything, and Americans just going to have to go with the flow. It doesn't matter if you're Jewish. It doesn't matter if you're Muslim. It doesn't matter if you're Hindu, Christian, whatever. In order to cut down anti-Semitism, people need to have some tolerance on people disagreeing with them. Even if it means suddenly they don't want to talk to you right now. That, hey, I don't want to talk to you right now, and you want to isolate yourself, just because you feel somebody's not going to take your method seriously. Do that instead. But to cut down anti-Semitism in America, people are going to have to make some changes within themselves and get used to the habits. There are going to be people who agree with you, and there are going to be people who disagree with you, and you cannot debate that. You cannot change their minds or force them to agree with you. Rather, it's your religion. If it's your religion, you can't force them to change their minds, whether it's a good mind or a bad mind. You can't do that. And that's the only way American anti-Semitism is going to go down, if people learn to change their methods. Otherwise, people are just going to keep using these three ideologies, rather it's anti-Semitism, colonialism, or Islamophobia, or Judophobia, whatever you want to call it. They're going to keep using it the wrong format because people are having such a difficult time agreeing with each other, talking to each other without have some tolerance of disagreements. That needs to be tolerated. If there's going to be people who love you, there's going to be people who disagree with you, and you need to have patience with that. You need to tolerate that without judging them back. You want anti-Semitism gone in America? Learn to have some tolerance. Learn to tolerate rejection. Learn to tolerate disagreements. Don't compete with anybody's opinion. Just go with the flow. Nature speaks for itself. But if people don't want to cut down anti-Semitism in America and don't follow these methods, you're going to keep facing hate, problems, lose what you got, lose what you have, lose your friends, all because you have no patience, intolerance in someone's opinion. And that's something people need to do in today's society. Tolerate, don't judge back, tolerate if somebody disagrees with you, give it time, even if it hurt your freaking feelings. Do it anyway. They will see for themselves what they disagree with. You don't need to fight back all that. That's why anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, and colonialism is the new thing on the block for people. Colonialism, judge someone's lifestyle. Islamophobia, it's okay to fear people and judge their religion. Islamophobia is a joke. Okay, it's a joke. Now, when a Muslim talks, we don't want people to fear us. No, but you know it's scary. What's the point? Black and white people fight every day. Shooters shoot every day. Does anybody say anything? No. And that didn't even require religion. You just need to be a criminal to do those things. So my last message to my viewers of my stream, if you agree with me and you feel America needs to get better, it needs to rise up, the only way to shut up anti-Semitism, we need to have tolerance. We need to tolerate people's opinion. We need to stop freaking fighting back if somebody disagrees with our methods. Stop using colonialism versus someone's opinion. Stop using anti-Semitism as an excuse if someone disagrees with your method and background or lifestyle. They just want to learn. If you feel they say something, then educate them in return. But don't use anti-Semitism as an excuse. Hate is just hate. You don't need an excuse. People say it to your face, I hate you, period. But anti-Semitism, and I say this all the time to my friends, what goes around comes around. You can fight anti-Semitism if you can show the world something different. The question is, do you want to? If you don't, and still complain that, hey, this is what it is, then I'm sorry. I'm sorry, because these up here, the minds, they're never going to match. And people need to get used to these things. Anybody questions? I think today's society, this was a great topic to remember, that somebody's opinion should not be just as colonialism, anti-Semitism, Judophobia, or Islamophobia. No. There are going to be people who reject how you see things, and people need to get used to it. Not fight back, because you cannot change someone's mind in any base of the world. That only a human itself it can change. All right, guys, I'm going to end this stream, and I hope people learned something today till I do the next show. I'm not doing a podcast yet. I'm waiting for an announcement from my Israeli friends what's meant to be done. I don't have a base to talk on a podcast yet, but I feel based on how children are starting school and how anti-Semitism is out of America's control, the only way to cut it down is if people have tolerance within themselves. People need to tolerate rejection. People need to tolerate opinion. People need to tolerate everybody's religions, differences and similarities, not judge one another with religion. And people need to tolerate visions. Not everybody's going to see things the way you see. Only then people will attract. And this anti-Semitism's going to cut down. And don't use colonialism as an excuse for someone's lifestyle, how they grew up. That, oh, your country had colonialism, that was a colonial project, and this is how you grew up, this is how you did this. No, that's where culture comes in. Every country has its own culture, and you cannot use colonialism as an excuse for culture. All right? I thought this was an interesting base today for me to publish for people to understand in order to get around. Take care. And yeah.